Ish Smith shows up and everything changes. I'm Mike Sherman, sports editor of the Oklahoman, here to talk with our Thunder beat writer Anthony Slater about the change that's undergone within the Oklahoma City Thunder. Ish Smith, a reserve guard,
very reserved,
shows up, and all of a sudden the Thunder's back to its winning ways.
Yeah, I mean, he was good. I wouldn't necessarily contribute it all to Ish Smith. 7 minutes of playing time, 7 points in those 7 minutes. He did actually look pretty good. I don't expect this to become a theme. He may not even play in the upcoming games, especially with Lamb's back now. Reggie Jackson's playing well. Anthony Morrow, some of the reserves seem to be coming. The injured players are going to be coming back. But good signing. Gave him an extra body. Played pretty well, but he's a 16th man on this roster. Clearly, Lance Thomas has shown enough to assume he's probably sticking around. I think Ish Smith. Great game for him, but I think his Thunder life is, maybe 2 weeks away from expiring.
Speaking of Thunder life, there was a guy who looked like he had new life Sunday night against the Sacramento Kings, and that's Kendrick Perkins. Anthony, it's my theory that people thought Perk would not be as good in a reserve role. He's playing against other teams' second-string centers, and he's looking young and ready to play.
Real young, and you mentioned today's his 30th birthday. Happy birthday, Big Perk. But yeah, he looked good last night against the reserve centers, and he really actually looked good against DeMarcus Cousins. Those games last night are the type of games why he still has a role on this roster, even as a backup center. Steven Adams didn't play that well last night. He wasn't handling Cousins that well. Perkins comes in, plays DeMarcus Cousins well, looks as spry as we've seen him. I mean, remember, we forget, but at Media Day he talked about losing weight, back to his Boston days. I don't think he's ever getting back to his Boston days, but he looks as good as we've seen him. We'll see how big his role is when Mitch McGary gets back, when everyone is kind of back on this roster. But as he's shown last night, as he's shown in the Denver game, when he really threw back the clock with 17 points, he has a role on this roster, and maybe he can take advantage of some backup centers.
Checking out that YouTube video, that Bulls Celtics series. Anthony, somebody else who looks like he's having a heck of a time is Kevin Durant. He's carrying on the sidelines.
Yeah.
Is this something that, is this going to give him a different view, or is it just for pure enjoyment right now?
I think it's pure enjoyment. I mean, he's a guy that loves life. He's always enjoyed his teammates. We saw the MVP speech. We've seen everything he's done over time. So I think he's enjoying that part of it. Some of it, to a point, may be a show a little bit, as far as, I want to the outside world looking, hey, we're still having a good time. We're still confident in our team. I love Oklahoma City, as far as, everyone talks about his free agency. So maybe that's just kind of showing people. And then I just think he's kind of a fun-loving guy. It's not just him. I mean, he is definitely the ringleader over on that bench, but Mitch McGary's up, Anthony Morrow, Russell Westbrook's having a good time. They're going pretty nutty out there.
Well, also, when Rudy Gay airballed that shot, Durant was wiping off of his hands like, what's the matter, Rudy? Did that slip on you or something? That seemed to be pretty fun.
He's a competitive guy. It's a competitive environment. He can't help on the court, so I think he's just, he's leading the trash talking, leading the cheerleading. But, Thunder fans and the Thunder are going to prefer him out of that boot and on the court, which 3-4 weeks away maybe.
Finally, Anthony, the Thunder was 1-5 going into Sunday night's game against Sacramento. They win.
Yeah.
And now there's an Eastern bent. They got back-to-backs, starting with Milwaukee and Boston, and then come back Friday night here against Detroit.
Yeah.
Has the tone and tenor of this team changed? I mean, could they get on a roll here?
I think so. I mean, I don't expect them to just rattle off a big win streak, but, they can accumulate some wins, which are big early in the season, get enough to win. Durant and Westbrook gets back, you can get on a roll, and maybe, we talked about, can they make the playoffs? Maybe they can get it to the point where they can get on a roll and get up 4 or 5 seed. In the NBA, if you win your division, you're a top 4 seed and you get home court. Portland's, they're only 2 games behind Portland right now. I think Portland's 4-3. I think to a point Portland's a little overrated. Nick Batum got hurt last night. If you start getting these injured guys back, win some of these winnable games, they're still, I would say, the favorite in that division. And then you're a top 4 seed and you got home court and you're not tanking.
Thanks, Anthony. That's all for this one, but you can stay with the best coverage team anywhere, every day at News OK and every morning in the Oklahoman.